If you're running ads for your service business and you can't get them to scale past a certain point, if every time you try to raise the budget, things break, if you feel like you're constantly babysitting the campaigns just to keep them alive, let's talk about it, the real reason. And it has nothing to do with the ads themselves. It's because you don't have an actual system. You have a reaction cycle. And here's what I mean. Most service business owners think that they're running a marketing system, but what they actually have is a chain of random actions loosely stitched together that only work when the volume is small. When the leads trickle in at maybe 3 or 4 a day, you can keep up with it. You can answer the calls fast enough, you can manually follow up, you can remember who's who, you can juggle it. But the second you try to scale, the whole thing crumbles. And it's not because the ads got worse, but it's because the only thing holding everything together was you. It was your attention, your energy, your ability to micromanage every step. And guess what happens when you try to double the output? Your bandwidth becomes the bottleneck, and you can't scale bandwidth. You can only scale systems. And that's where everything starts falling apart, because you raise your budget and suddenly your follow-up falls behind, you get busier, and then suddenly your estimate turnaround slows down, you start landing more conversations, and suddenly you don't have time to nurture them. Because think about your current setup. If your phone is quiet, you follow up aggressively. If it's busy, you start slacking. If you have open space on your calendar, you call everyone instantly. And if you're booked out maybe 2 weeks, you start to slow down. Every part of your process changes based on how overwhelmed you feel that day. And then you're surprised that your ads don't scale predictably. And how would they? Nothing in your business stays the same long enough for scaling to work. People think that scaling ads is about adding another campaign or just testing new creatives, and it's not. Scaling is about making sure every lead that comes in gets the same experience regardless of the day or the weather or your stress level or how many jobs you're juggling. None of that matters. Because if your process depends on your mood, your availability or your memory is never going to scale. And let me give you an example. When you get 20 leads in a week, you answer them quickly. When you get 50, you naturally slow down. You don't mean to, but you just can't keep up with what you currently have in place. But those extra 30 leads don't know that. All they see is that you didn't call them, another contractor did. And that one little gap is what's killing your scaling. And this is why every time when somebody tells me that their ads stopped working after they raised their budget, I already know what happened. The ads didn't stop working, the business did. The system did. Something somewhere was barely holding on, and that revealed it. Scaling reveals every operational weakness you've been ignoring. And that's where it gets expensive, because you're paying for attention that you're not even properly handling. You're burning money on reach that you can't convert, and you're buying opportunities that don't get treated the right way once they show up. And then guess what you do? You turn the budget back down because you think the ads fell off, and now you're back at square one with low volume and low stress and a false sense of stability until you try scaling again, and then you repeat the exact same cycle. And this is why so many businesses stay stuck at the same revenue level for years. It's not because they can't get leads, it's because they can't handle more than what they currently have. But here's the good news. Fixing this isn't complicated. You don't need to become a marketing expert or reinvent your business. You just need a system that doesn't rely on you being 110% every single day. Because when your intake is structured and the follow-up is automatic, when your estimate process is predictable and your KPIs are visible instead of just being guessed, scaling becomes boring, but in a good way, because it starts working the way that it's supposed to work. It's consistent, it's controllable, and without you constantly putting out fires. So if you're listening to this and realizing that you're not bad at ads, you're just running everything manually and calling it a system, that's why scaling has felt impossible and unrealistic, because sometimes you don't need more leads, you just need the structure in place to convert the leads that you already have at that scale. And that's what we build. We don't just build a random ad campaign, we build the actual infrastructure behind it, because the ads typically aren't the problem. They boost it, but the ability to support more volume is the real problem. And once that's fixed, scaling becomes inevitable. So if you're ready to stop riding that revenue roller coaster and build something that actually grows when you want it to grow, just click the link in the description and book a call with me. We'll literally look at your back end, the intake, the gaps, the leaks, and fix the part of the business that actually is capping your ads. So sure, some of it is the marketing, but a lot of it and all of it is the structure.